What happens when a petty HOA president picks the wrong fight over a house cat? I came home from work expecting peace and found a $500 fine on my door for owning Whiskers, my tabby. They called him an exotic pet. What they didn't know, I'm the lawyer who wrote the HOA bylaws. And this time, I wasn't just fighting for my cat. I was about to expose a neighborhood power grab that would shake the entire community. Whiskers wasn't exotic. He was lazy, orange, and flat-out spoiled. He liked sunbeams, clean laundry, and yowling precisely 15 minutes before dawn. A menace. Sure, but exotic. Not even close. So when I came home one Wednesday night and found a $500 fine taped to my front door, claiming that Whiskers was in violation of HOA bylaws as an unauthorized exotic animal, I thought it was a joke, until I saw the signature. Karen Thompson, HOA president. I laughed. Then I stopped, because Karen wasn't joking, and unfortunately for her, neither was I. See, I'm a lawyer, not the billboard kind, the policy writing kind. 10 years ago, I helped draft the bylaws for our homeowners association, every clause, every comma, every contingency. I know them better than anyone, including Karen. She'd moved in 6 months ago, rolled in like a storm cloud with pearls, a Lexus, and the energy of someone who hadn't felt in control of her own life for years and decided to control everyone else's instead. Wind chimes banned. Holiday wreaths after January sighted. She even told Mrs. Morchen, a 75-year-old widow, that her memorial garden for her late husband was aesthetic pollution. And now, she was coming for my cat. The violation packet was thick, a printed WebMD article about zoonotic diseases, 2 grainy photos of Whiskers staring out my window, and a highlighted portion of an ordinance that had nothing to do with the HOA. It was petty, but it was more than that. It was a power grab. And unfortunately for Karen, I wasn't the type to roll over. That night, Bob Miller, our HOA treasurer and longtime neighbor, stopped by. He held a crumpled notice in his hand. She fined me for non-uniform window blinds, he said, exasperated. I've had the same one since '98. She's on a warpath. Didn't she need board approval for these changes, I asked. She pushed through emergency powers at the last meeting. He replied, half the board didn't even show. Said she had authority. I nodded slowly. She doesn't. Not without quorum. Bob smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. I spent the weekend building a case. I wasn't just going to dispute my fine. I was going to dismantle her entire operation. I reviewed her appointment. It was shaky. The meeting where she won had no community notice, no quorum, and no recorded minutes. That alone was enough to nullify her authority. But I wasn't done. I dug into HOA spending, missing invoices, questionable reimbursements, landscaping payments made to companies that didn't exist, and one that led back to a Venmo account under the name Thompson K. Sloppy. Then came the property survey. Karen had extended her backyard fence 3 feet into community green space, unpermitted, unapproved, and unnoticed. Until now, she wasn't just abusing power, she was stealing it. At the next HOA meeting, I didn't sit. I stood. Karen sat at the head of the table in her signature lavender blouse, expression smug. We'll begin with the matter of unauthorized pets. No, I said. We'll begin with the matter of unauthorized presidents. The room froze. I moved to challenge the legitimacy of Karen Thompson's appointment as HOA president. I continued, projecting my voice. Karen sputtered. You're out of order. No, I said, pulling a binder from my bag. I'm citing Section 2(3) of the bylaws. Election procedures require full board quorum, which was not met at the April 3rd meeting. Murmurs erupted. Bob nodded beside me. And while we're at it, I added, flipping pages, I'd like to enter into public record photographic evidence of unauthorized personal use of community green space, fraudulent disbursement of HOA funds, and proof of harassment and retaliatory fines issued under the guise of authority. Karen's face drained of color. Her mouth opened, closed, and then the room began to turn. Over the next 2 weeks, things unraveled for Karen. Residents began coming forward, some angry, some relieved. Mrs. Post-Chen revealed Karen had cited her for unapproved statuary. Another neighbor, Luis, said Karen reported his teenage son's parked car as an abandoned vehicle. The car was less than a year old. The city received complaints. So did the local news. A small column ran in the paper, HOA president under fire for alleged abuse of power. But the final nail came from City Hall. Karen had never filed the proper paperwork to assume her position. Her appointment was never legally ratified. She had no power. She never did. The board voted unanimously to remove her. Her fines were voided. Her fence was torn down. And her house, once the perfect pastel shade of smugness, was ordered to be repainted due to irony of all ironies, a color code violation. At the final meeting before her removal, Karen tried to speak. "This is a personal attack," she said. "I was trying to bring order." "No," I said calmly, "you were trying to bring control. But the rules aren't weapons, and they're not yours to bend." She looked at me with a mix of rage and something else. Shame. Regret, maybe. But it didn't matter, because the community had found its voice. The bylaws are now stored in a transparent, online database. Fines require photographic proof and a 2-person board review. Decorative flamingos are allowed up to 3. Wind chimes are back in style. Whiskers. He's doing just fine. He sleeps by the window, occasionally flashing his belly to passing dogs. Sometimes I wonder if he knows what he started. But here's what I know. In neighborhoods, like in law, power without checks becomes poison. And sometimes, all it takes is a cat and someone who knows the rules to clean it up.